Am I in the middle there? Should I even be in the middle, or should I be like slightly to one side? Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I thought before I get into today's video I would just explain to you quickly what's going on and what this video is. So I decided that rather than making my extras video how I normally do each month, where I have sort of like a training diary and then a favourite section, I would split those two up into two separate videos, because when I was filming them I always really felt like they were two separate things and I wasn't quite sure why I was trying to bung them together in one video. So this year I'm going to do them separately, and in order to sort of focus my favourites I've decided to split it up into three areas. So each month I will talk about a person, a place and a thing. Hope that all makes sense, and let's get on with the video. So this month the person that I wanted to give a shout out to is a nutritionist called Rhiannon Lambert, whose book launch I recently went to, the launch of this book, Re-Nourish. We were introduced by a guy called Lawrence, who I was working with out in Tel Aviv recently. He'd put up an Instagram story, I think, and tagged me in it, and Rhiannon had got in touch with him saying that she'd love to send me a copy of her book and invite me along to her book launch, which I then went along to. I met Rhi at the event and she very kindly gave me a signed copy of her book to take home with me, which I kind of thought that I would definitely flick through, maybe look at some of the recipes at the back. However, I started reading it and an hour and a half later I realised I was truly engrossed in this. I now have every intention of reading the book front to back and just learning as much as I can about nutrition from what she has to say, because it's super interesting. It goes into her philosophy of thinking of eating as a way to nourish the body and really understanding the benefits that you're getting from the different foods that you eat. So rather than just say tracking macros like I used to do, and that's by the way where you monitor your carb, protein and fat intake each day, but that really doesn't take into consideration the fact that one type of carb is going to have a very different effect on your body than another type of carb, and also it completely disregards the fact that there are many micronutrients that you need. And in this book Rhiannon goes into details about where you can get those micronutrients from, and when she's talking about the macronutrients she talks about the different types of carbs, what protein is and how much we really need of it, and what the healthy fats are. And actually, especially as an athlete, it's so important to be thinking about what we're putting into our bodies, because that's going to have such a big effect on how we can perform as athletes. And she doesn't stop there, she then goes on to talk about fibre, friendly bacteria, bone health, which I think is something especially important for free runners because we certainly put our bones under a lot of stress. Am I right? And as if that wasn't enough to persuade you that you want to read this book already, the next chapter of the book is the food clinic, where she talks about our relationship with food. There's also a section on how food can affect your mood, which I think is something that we don't think about a lot of the time, how much what we eat can really affect the way we feel. There's also a body image test in there and a little section on self-love tasks. So this is so much more than just a food book or a cookbook. I mean, there's just so much in there that I think can really benefit all of us. Anyway, I feel like I'm going to start rambling if I haven't already, so I'm going to move on. But thank you so much, Rhiannon, for sending me the book and for signing it for me. That's super sweet. And yeah, moving on. So this month the place that I wanted to focus on is Slough Parkour Park. I thought this would be a good starting point because it's the closest purpose-built parkour facility to where I live, so it's pretty much right on my doorstep. I live in Windsor. Slough is just a stone's throw away. Is that the expression? Stone's throw away. Stone throw away. I don't know. Anyway, a little bit of information about the park. I believe it opened at the end of 2016. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe it's been open for a little over a year. And although it's not the biggest parkour park in the world, and there are definitely things that I personally would change about it if I was given the chance to, it is a really fun place to find lots of little challenges, and I've had some really fun training sessions there myself. I'll try and insert some clips of little challenges that I've done, and I definitely think it's somewhere that's worth checking out if you happen to be in the area. I mean, I wouldn't say, you know, trek for miles and miles to come and visit it, but if you are anywhere nearby, it's definitely worth a visit, and I would love it if you'd let me know when you're there so I can go down and have someone to train with. Thanks. I also, while we're talking about Slough Parkour Park, want to shout out the Slough Parkour community. They have an Instagram page which is @SloughParkour, which I believe is run by Eric Moore, but there might be more people involved in that, I'm not actually sure. But I love that on that page they highlight so many different athletes who go and train there. They don't just showcase the top athletes, they show a real range of abilities, from people who are just starting out and, you know, trying their first laches, to, you know, some of the top athletes in the world who are going there and really throwing down some hard lines. So I just think that's super nice, because I think especially for someone who is just starting out, it can be a little bit daunting if all you ever see from a place is the top athletes doing really hard stuff. And I think sometimes it's nice for people to see how beginners can go about training, and sort of seeing like, oh well, maybe that's a way I could start, because although I can't understand how I could ever do that, I can understand how I could maybe think about doing that, and then that would lead to that, would lead to that, so maybe one day I actually can get there, if that makes any sense at all. Anyway, I feel like I am rambling a lot, but another thing I want to say about the Slough Parkour community is that I went to train with them excuse me. I really should start having a glass of water with me when I'm filming chatty videos, because I tend to get very froggy. I went out and trained with them just before Christmas, and it really kind of took me back to my early days of training, where training was just about going out with a few of your friends, trying some fun challenges, and just, you know, having fun. And I'm not saying that training isn't that now, but I don't know, I think maybe with all the big gyms popping up everywhere and big jams happening every month, it seems like, it's just sometimes nice to go back to that sort of raw going out with a few friends and just having fun and messing around with some challenges. So yeah, I want to shout out those guys, and if you want to let me know more in future when you're going out to train, I would love that, because it was really fun hanging out with you. So, oh, this has turned into a little sob story. Katie needs some friends to train with. Anyway, moving on, the thing I wanted to talk about for this month, that sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? The thing. Person, place and thing. Should I have gone for maybe person, place and other? Does that sound better? I don't know. Anyway, the thing I wanted to talk about this month is my new Storror fleece. I'd seen pictures posted on Storror's Instagram account of the fleece that they'd brought out, and I think I probably commented on it saying that it looked really cool or something, I don't know. But then I saw Annan wearing one in person, and I just knew I needed to get my hands on one of those. So I did, and it has not disappointed. I absolutely loved it. It's super comfy, really cozy, and actually also really on trend. I feel like at the moment, well, especially in the UK, I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but fleeces are just popping up everywhere in the high street, and I feel like this is something that you could expect to walk into Urban Outfitters or something and see on the shelf. Like, it totally fits in with fashion right now. Like, I feel like this is something that not just free runners would want to wear, and actually the general public would want to wear too. And I think whoever from Storror came up with the idea of making fleeces deserves a real big pat on the back, and yeah, I love it. I love it. Love it. I also really like the fact that it has these drawstrings at the bottom, so you can sort of wear it in two ways. You can either just have it baggy as like a big sack, which is actually a look I kind of like, but if you want, and maybe for training it's a little bit more practical, you can tie the drawstrings up and have it in more of a hoodie style, like that sort of fitted around the bottom look, and I just think it's great. Anyway, my battery's flashing at me now, so I really have to go, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!